The Wale Stitch is a 3-stitch insertion in our Hazelfern sock pattern that can give knitters some trouble. So we're going to show you how to do it today. I've created a swatch here with 3 instances of the stitch so that I can just show you exactly that. But on the sock pattern, this column of 3 stitches is inserted among other patterning. So the Wale Stitch is worked every 4th row to create this chevron column here. So here I am on the 4th row of the repeat, ready to do the Wale Stitch. And what we're going to do, you see down here in the lower portion of the pattern, you have this kind of, these large elongated stitches here creating a sort of V out of a central hole, this hole here, right there. And so what we're going to do is be knitting down into a stitch 3 rows below the live stitches on the needle. So you're going to knit your first stitch here, normally. Now, you're instructed in the pattern to knit into 3 rows below the stitch on the needle. Now, don't count this stitch in that. I'll get in here with my tapestry needle to show you. Here's 1, here's 2, and the 3rd stitch here is where you want to go. You also notice that that 3rd stitch already has a little bit of an opening, so it's a little easier to see it than the stitches above. So basically, you're going to go into that little opening between this V from the last time you did this stitch. You're going to go in there, and you're going to work a regular knitted stitch, but you're going to double wrap it. So I wrap the yarn around the needle twice, and I come out of that hole, and I pull away, and you can see that I've got a double wrap on my right stitch. Now I'm going to knit the center stitch normally, and then we're going to go back into that hole one more time and do the same thing with a double wrap. You see the second time you go in, it's even bigger. It's even easier to see because you're sort of pulling it open from that first double wrap. This is the trickiest part of the stitch. I like to get my left needle in there first just to help me go in and keep a little tension on my yarn as well as I go in so I don't lose any of the stitches I just made. So I'm back in that same position, wrapping the needle twice and coming out and then sliding off. So now I've got this first double wrap, that center stitch that I just knit, and this second double wrap. They're both, you see how big that stitch has become because I've got those 2 now double wrap stitches coming out of it, so it's stretching that open. And I'm going to knit the 5th stitch. So you'll notice now that what was 3 stitches when I encountered it is now 5, although it looks like 7 because 2 of those 5 stitches have double wraps. So I have the 1st stitch, the 2nd stitch double wrap, the 3rd stitch, the 4th stitch, which is a double wrap, and the 5th stitch. So all of a sudden, my 3 stitches here have turned into 5. And I'm going to decrease those 5 down to 3 on the next row that I work. So I'll show you one more time. I've got my 3 stitches here. I'm ready to do the Wale Stitch. Knit 1. Duck down into that hole right there. That's 3 stitches below my live stitch on my needle. Double wrap and come out. Now I'm going to knit the next stitch regularly. Okay, I'm going to go back into that hole. Use my left needle tip to help me get in there. Double wrap. Come back out. I've got that one, and I'm going to knit the final stitch. So again, I've got 5 stitches, 2 of which are double wraps, coming out of what was 3 before I began this row. So now you see, if we follow each of these wale columns up, we've got this little cluster of stitches that we're going to take care of on the next row. Now I'm knitting a flat swatch, but this pattern is knit on a circular sock, so I'm going to just slide my needle through here so I can show you the next row, which is going to be worked also from the right side in the pattern that we're talking about. All right, so now I'm coming along. It's the round following the wale stitch that we just worked, and I run into this cluster of stitches. Now before I work these, I like to slip over and get this double wrap stitch undoubled so that it's just treated as a regular stitch. So you see I slipped both of those off, and now basically I have the 5 stitches are more clearly visible, with stitch 2 and 4 having quite a bit more yarn in them. They're looser. And so now that I'm here, I'm going to work a knit 2 together over the first 2 stitches, knit the center stitch, and then SSK on the second pair of stitches. And because I just worked those 2 decreases, you can see that that 5 stitches that I had now becomes 3. And that's completes the special maneuver. So here we are again. We've got that cluster of what looks like 7 stitches, but it's actually 5. I'm just going to slip over to get these double wraps nice and clean, make my decreases easier. Then I'm going to work a knit 2 together, knit the center stitch, and work an SSK. And the knit 2 together leans right, the SSK leans left, and that's what creates this V shape where the elongated stitch that you've made is leaning out in either direction. And see now that we've just created another section of these elongated V stitches here, and we're back to 3 stitches above the wale. Like that. And that's how you do the wale stitch.